Welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Mods Unlocked, and in this video, you're going to learn how to turn random purple rocks you find in the world into in-game powerhouses, and in less time than it takes to build an XP farm as well. I'll also walk you through how to get and upgrade gems, apply them, what each sigil does, how reforging and augmenting works, and much more. And be sure to stick around to the end of the video for one of my favorite armor setups using these gems. Alright, I'm Avo, and let's jump in. So before we get into the rest of everything in Apotheosis, first of all, we need to know exactly where to find the gems. And you can find them here, 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 or you can just find them in the towers that Apotheosis adds. So as you can see, when we go up this tower here, on the way up, there's a bunch of gems, and at the top, there's a booby trap chest that has 2 Apotheosis armors. And as you can see, this one actually has a socket, which we'll talk about more in a second. Now, before we talk more about how to equip gems into armor and tools, let's talk about the new world tier system that was introduced in 1.21.1. This system now makes sure that you can't get any rarity or higher rarity gems when you just start the game and you open the first chest with really good luck. Instead, the first affix item you come across will start a new quest, and that will enter you into the first tier of the world tier progression, which is Haven. To get to Frontier, you have to equip a full set of common armor plus 1 common weapon, and at this tier, invaders also start spawning. To reach the next tier, which is Ascent, you have to equip a full set of uncommon armor plus 1 uncommon weapon. Also, you can check the detailed info of each tier by pressing Ctrl and T at the same time, and then moving up to the detailed info button. To go from Ascent to Summit, you have to equip a full set of rare armor plus 1 rare weapon, and you have to kill the Wither. And finally, to reach the pinnacle, you have to equip a full set of epic armor, equip 1 epic weapon, and you have to kill the Ender Dragon. Alright, so now that we have all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about what each block in the mod does, starting out with the smithing table. And the smithing table just allows you to apply sockets, gems, and sigils. And to do this, you just grab whatever piece of armor you have. This was the one from the tower earlier. Just go ahead and shift right click, and then whatever gem you have, as you can see there, it's going to add plus 7.5% arrow velocity. So let's go ahead and throw that on there. And as you can see, it just applies it to the single empty socket that the leather cap has. Next up, let's talk about the salvaging table. Now say I actually hate this leather cap. Instead, I can throw it in here, and it'll give me 1 to 3 leather and 1 to 4 time-worn fabric. And time-worn fabric is just the rarity material. So as you can see, this is uncommon. And if we were to take a look at the rest over here on the left side, this is common. We have the luminous crystal, which is rare. We have epic, and then the God-forged pearl is mythic. Next up, let's talk about the simple reforging table, and this allows you to reforge items up to rare. So if I were to take this diamond chest plate and just place it inside of there, and then grab some God-forged pearls, it's not going to allow me to place that inside of the simple reforging table. Instead, you're gonna need luminous crystal shards, and then go ahead and shift right click, or shift left click, excuse me, into there. And as you can see, it'll give you 3 different tiers that you can select from. And what's really weird about this is just because this uses the most luminous crystal shards and the most levels, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the best item. So take a look at all 3 of these whenever you're doing any type of reforging, and make sure you're actually getting the best deal, because sometimes this one will rip you off, and it's kind of disappointing, honestly. Now, the regular reforging table, just known as the reforging table, will reforge items up to mythic, which is the Godforged. So if I were to take some more Godforged, as you can see, it will take it in there, and then I can place my same chest plate in there, and as you can see, the Blast Forged diamond chestplate of adamantine, anyways, can be reforged into the spiritual diamond chestplate of health. And as you can see, it's much better, maybe minus the gravity. I don't know why on earth I would ever need that. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the augmenting table. And if we take that same chestplate from earlier, as you can see, I went ahead and upgraded the blessed portion of the chestplate, which gives me max health. So this little number right here tells you what the range of max health is. So as you can see, right now I have plus 8 max health, which is the maximum, and plus 5 max health would be the minimum. Now we have this little drop down menu, and we can take a look at each individual attribute that the reforging table gave us. So if we take a look here, we can increase the amount of luck between 3 and 5, and you know, the gravity, I don't want to do that. And you can also, you know, check out the healing received. So if we take a look up here, the stat modifiers is the modifiers in blue and the gray one that is gravity. Those are called stat modifiers. The affixes are the words that are in yellow. So as you can see, the explosive damage taken is reduced by 20% is an affix. The stat modifier is the +8 damage or the +8 max health. So that gets the terminology out of the way because those kind of confused me, although I am easily confused sometimes. Now we can actually scroll up and down here using our scroll wheel, and not only can we modify our stat modifiers, but we can also modify the affixes themselves. So if we take a look here, projectile damage taken is reduced by 21%. And if we take a look up here, projectile damage taken is reduced by 21%. So that is the affix. But maybe we don't like projectile damage. Maybe we want something else. So instead, we can do the re-roll selected affix. So if we went ahead and just re-rolled this one, it will turn it into blockading. So now the physical damage taken is reduced by 7%. But what about the projectile damage? Let's go ahead and select that, which is deflective, and go ahead and re-roll that one. And now it's going to be when attacked, I will gain resistance 2 for 7 seconds. So basically what this does is it allows you to upgrade your stat modifiers, which again are the numbers in blue, and then it lets you upgrade or change the affixes, which is the words in yellow. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about the gem cutting table. And if I were just to select, I don't know, this cracked solar gem here, go ahead and place your first one in the middle and then your second one up top, and then you go and select the next upgrade material. So you can see the cracked solar gem is common because of the color and name of the solar gem. So if we take a look at the time worn fabric, it is uncommon, so that's going to be our direct upgrade. So go ahead and select that, place it inside of here, and then go ahead and select some gem dust and place it inside of this one. Now, as you can see, this hammer right here will light up and you can upgrade your gem. So now it is a chip solar gem, and it can be upgraded further if you had another chip solar gem, which you would place back inside of here. Now, each time it's going to take more and more resources. So as you see, I used only one time worn fabric there, but if I were to use time worn fabric again, it would use 3. If I were to do this again, it would use 9. So each time you upgrade it, it's going to use more and more of whatever material you're using. If you go to the next material, say you wanted to upgrade the flawed solar gem, let's go ahead and throw the flawless one away. You could indeed use arcane sands, and it would use less than if you were to use time worn fabric, but sometimes arcane sands is harder to get, so it really comes down to which one is easier and which one you want to use more of. Next up, let's talk about what each sigil does. So this is the gem fuse slate, and it's specifically used to make other sigils. So if you press U on top of it, you can see that it'll make smithing templates or other sigils that you might need later. The sigil of socketing does what it sounds like it would do, and if you take a piece of armor that doesn't have any modifiers on it and throw it into a smithing table with a sigil of socketing, you can add another socket to it. And you can only do this twice though, so it's a maximum of 2. If you want more sockets, you'll have to use either the simple reforging table or the reforging table on some of your favorite gear. Next up, we have the Sigil of Withdrawal, and what this does is it removes all of the gems in all sockets in all items. So if I were to come over here and select these boots here, and then go ahead and place that gem inside of there, the Sigil of Withdrawal will actually remove that gem and give me the item back as well. Next up, let's talk about the Sigil of Enhancement, and this sigil is actually used as the fuel in the Augmenting table. So you can't actually use the Augmenting table unless you have the Sigil of Enhancement placed inside. If you were to take this and place that in there, in survival, you would not be able to upgrade or change this at all. Next up, let's talk about the Sigil of Rebirth, and this is actually used as fuel for both of the reforging tables. So either the simple reforging table or the regular reforging table. Now on top of this, you're also going to need your rarity material. So if I wanted these boots to be Godforged, which they already are, then you would put a Godforged Pearl in here. But if you wanted them to be something just like rare, then you would place rare in here instead, and you would get whatever rarity the rarity material corresponds to. Next up, let's talk about the Sigil of Malice, and this one's actually really cool. So it will sacrifice one gear modifier to improve another, and it's only one-time use. So if I were to come over here and take a look inside of the smithing table here, when you place this inside, you're going to see it's going to say Malice will appear on craft. So I'm actually going to copy these boots just so we can figure out what changed, and go ahead and apply that Sigil of Malice. So you can see that it says it's touched by Malice, and the little star says that my 85% swim speed was increased by Malice. So it was 69% swim speed before, and now it's 85%. And it actually removed the knockback resistance. So it consumed the knockback resistance to increase the strength of the swim speed. You can't actually control which modifier is changed, so it's pretty much just RNG. So do with that information what you will, just be very careful on armor and gear that you like. Next up, let's talk about the Sigil of Unnaming. And I'm sure you guys saw already, but these boots right here have a pretty long name. So if I were to just place this sigil inside of there, it's just going to turn it from this entire long name to just leather boots with all of the affixes still on it. Next up, let's quickly go over each rarity. So this is common, uncommon, rare, epic, and mythic in that order. Mythic is super hard to find, but if you open up your skill tree and come over to the detailed section, on each one you select, as you can see here, I'm going to have a 5% chance to find mythic drops. So that's armor and anything like that. And down here, I'm going to have a 1% chance to find perfect gems. And if I were to come up all the way to the pinnacle and take a look at the detailed information, mythic is now 25% and perfect gems is now 10%. Now, when it comes to re-rolling your armor, you're going to find a lot that maybe you don't like. So you're going to have to use a lot of material. And the way to get these materials is just by killing more of the mobs, the Apotheosis invaders, and just breaking down their gear in the salvaging table, as you saw that I did here. If you take a look with these mythic leather boots, just pretend that I got this from one of the mythic invaders, and as you can see, it will actually give me more Godforged Pearl. And again, more Godforged Pearl. And it also gives me leather, so it's kind of a cool way to get leather too. So each time you kill a mob, say they're an epic or mythic mob, you can just scrap their gear and then re-roll your own gear, or you could re-roll their gear and scrap gear that you simply just don't like. Now, before I get to one of my favorite armor setups, which is right behind me, I would like to remind everybody to like and subscribe so that way I can still afford to be a caffeine addict with my pre-workout. And if you guys want to support me with no extra cost to you, head down in the description and I'll have a link to my entire setup, but I'll also have a link to that pre-workout that I always talk about. It's my favorite pre-workout because there's no additives or anything else in it. All right, now let's take a look at my favorite setup, or one of my favorite setups. I can't say it's my very favorite setup because there's so much you can do with Apotheosis. So I'm just going to kind of hover over each item here for you guys to take a look. But first, let's start out with the enhanced netherite pickaxe of the Stoneworker. And the reason I like this item so much is because when I reforged it, it gives me plus 3 levels to existing fortune. But then I also equipped the perfect gem of the earth, which gives me another 4 levels of fortune on top of that. So this is one of my favorite for mining. And yeah, I know you can do some other crazy things and get better mining setups in the future, but specifically for a pickaxe, this is one of my favorite. This tool also has netherite effectiveness against all blocks. So if you go into maybe another dimension where you have to use a specific tool, you no longer really have to use that tool, at least as far as I know, because this will have netherite effectiveness against all blocks. Next up, let's take a look at the sword. And this one is one of my favorite because you can add plus 4 levels to sharpness, which again is this gem of the earth here. And then it also has plus 8 fire damage for the gem, and it will instantly kill any enemy below 25% max health. So this is why it's one of my favorite. Plus it has base 16 attack damage when I upgraded it. And by the way, all this is upgraded using the augmenting table over here. Next up is the helmet. Now, I don't really care about the inflict blindness that much or the lightning damage, but what I do really care about is the armor toughness, the knockback resistance, and the base armor. And with the perfect gem of the royal family, as you can see, it adds plus 15% to all stats, making you even stronger. Plus I added 5 luck on there just so when I open chests out in the world, I get better loot. Next up, let's talk about the netherite chest plate. And again, it's plus 4 levels to existing fortune. As you can see, there's kind of a pattern here with the perfect gem of the earth. It's pretty much one of my favorites. And I also added the gem for plus 12 max health, so that way I can just be a little bit stronger and harder to take down here. This chest plate here is absolutely amazing. Next up, let's talk about the leggings. And what I like about these is you gain resistance 2 when you're attacked, but you also gain resistance 2 on the, or just regular resistance on the chest plate. But this also has 14 armor, so that's just 2 armor less than the chest plate. It has 3 armor toughness, but it has plus 4 levels to existing fortune. So if I were to enchant these, which I didn't, then you would have you would be basically invincible, maybe except the very most, strongest mobs here. And just taking a look at the netherite boots, this is one of my favorite because I have plus 70% speed, which means when I put these on alone, I'm going to be like super, check this out, I'm already super fast. Now, if I were to apply the rest of these onto my character, and then I have step height, so I can just walk up anything. I know there were some people in my gym tier list video that didn't like step height, but check this out, dog. Like, if you're going this fast, you're going to want step height. And yeah, this can be like annoying when you're trying to like do specific things, like if I'm trying to work here or whatever. So maybe like tone back on the speed a little bit, but overall, man, I mean, this armor is like pretty freaking cool. I really like it a lot. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me in this video. If I missed anything, please let me know down in the comments. And if you like, make sure to like and subscribe. All right, I'm Avo. Peace.